Well, 135 then on yet another Lucknow burner. Didn't necessarily make the most exciting viewing, but it could still be a game that could be decided by fine margins. We look back at what was hard work for the batters of the Gujarat Titans, who won the toss, wanted to bat first. Hardik Pandya got 66, Saha got 47. The other 6 batters between them just got over 20. So we try and make sense of it all on our halftime show on Visit Saudi Presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Time Out. Sanjay Manjrekar and Moody were expecting this sort of surface, but after we've seen how it played for 20 overs, what are your first impressions of it, Sanjay?
Batting failed to an extent from Titan, but Hardik Pandya and Saha were superb. And eventually, when I look at how things have panned out, maybe that Bishnoi over could be the difference between the two teams. If Titans are able to win this, that one over where I think KL Rahul had to make a very important and a delicate call of Mishra or Bishnoi.
Yeah.
And he went with the T20 kind of bowler, the quicker of the two spinners. And I thought he paid a heavy price for that. Let's hope it doesn't come back to haunt him. But that was the big takeaway, apart from Saha and the wonderful hitting of Hardik Pandya.
All right, your first impressions, Tom, and then we will get to Bishnoi. Yes.
Yeah, look, I thought, as expected, we got the surface that we thought, which, I can't help but feel disappointed about that, because T20 cricket's not about, that type of scrambling cricket. It's not that appealing, and it suffocates the batting side. And I thought we saw 2 very good innings. Saha setting the tone up front, showing his experience. That was a very valuable innings. And then Hardik Pandya, clearly coming into this game with a little bit of pressure around his batting form, showed his class. And I just love his hands. His hands are so quick. So as soon as you err on that short side, his hands are so quick to be able to get back and just whack it out the ground.
All right, let's talk about those 2 innings first then. And Hardik Pandya was due. Hardik Pandya, the batter in this IPL, was due, especially for how important he was for the Titans in their title-winning season last year. And one interesting thing, Sanjay, is when he chose to come in the absence of Sai Sudarshan, ended up walking in the second over. That's almost the perfect sort of anchor innings that you'd like to see, striking at 132 on this surface.
And he's done that exact job, I was told earlier on a similar kind of pitch where he came in at number 3, and it was about 150 that Titans got, and he again got a 60 in that innings, and the chasing team got 140. So he's done this before. So he has that second gear game as well. So the difference that you see with the Hardik Pandya of Mumbai Indians, where they use only stop gear, whereas the new franchise that he's captaining, they're using all his gears.
Using the batsman.
Yeah, the complete package.
Yeah.
And what was remarkable about that particular over is Bishnoi was doing what he does best, is low release point, getting the ball to stay as low as possible. And when he actually made contact with the ball, it was around knee high. And a skidder, the last one was actually pretty full, to get under that ball and then hitting it miles into the stands. Very few batters can manage that with such a low bounce, skidding delivery. And that is where Hardik Pandya, always takes my breath away with the amount of talent this guy has. And he'll come and bowl as well in seaming conditions. He'll impress you with the moving ball too. So just incredible talent.
You seem to be in love.
I've always been with Hardik Pandya's, as I said, breathtaking talent.
Fantastic. But yes, you bring up the Ravi Bishnoi point. Now, was this a great innings where a batter happened to get the better of a bowler, or is there more to it? There are 3 overs in that innings, Tom, that went for double digits, all bowled by Bishnoi, on what otherwise seems to be such a hard surface to bat. We look at Bishnoi's figures, and for a player in form, it doesn't make for very good reading, none for 49.
I think he was put under overwhelming pressure by a presence of a player. He knew that he could get hit out of the ground any ball. And we've got to also recognise that Bishnoi's only a young kid still. Even though he's bowled well and he's doing a good job and all those things, but when you get the presence of a Hardik Pandya there that has that stature, that presence is enough to
Intimidate,
shake,
perhaps?
intimidate the most experienced players, let alone some younger players. So I thought it was a smart move, him coming in at 3, because it was a surface that any batter of quality needed time to get in and get familiar with the pace and the awkwardness of the surface. And then he had his chance, once he's done that, he had his chance to blossom and hit a few bombs.
And also we were talking about Chahal and his in a show that we recorded about his record at
Success,
Chinnaswamy.
yeah.
So this is the thing, when spinners get nervous, anxious, they bowl quicker. Chahal goes the other way, and that is why he's got such a good record there. So now in hindsight, it's easy for us to say, Mishra would have been a better choice.
Yeah.
But on a pitch like that, to begin with, when you have three spinners, one finger spinner, quick bowler, like a Jadeja, and an Amit Mishra, proper wrist spinner who turns the ball, and then Bishnoi. On a pitch like this, Bishnoi was your weakest link.
Yeah.
On a good pitch, maybe yes. So his first couple of overs going for runs wasn't good bowling. I can understand last year when you're coming to the end of the innings, you want to just save runs. But again, he could have been a little slower, a little fuller. But he's a guy who doesn't turn the ball too much. So it's a big gamble getting.
Sanjay says hindsight though, but would KL Rahul be thinking again that he got a couple of things wrong? Maybe Mishra could have been used more, just the 2 overs for him.
2 different bowlers, and Sanjay makes a correct point around the pace of spin. But the big difference between Bishnoi and Mishra is that one turns his leg spin quite dramatically and the other one only turns it marginally. And on a surface like that, when you have a right-hander looking to target you and go hard, I'd much rather have someone that's got side spin on it, like a Chahal, like a Mishra, that's going to spin the ball away dramatically.
Like he got Manohar out.
Yes,
the big
exactly.
Yeah.
Hit me as far as you can over the offside. Good luck to you.
Yeah, sure. All right, Ridhiman Saha, 47 of 37. Everyone's happy when Saha gets runs. More so, someone who's worked with him. So
Yeah,
must be
he puts a smile on my face because he's such a high-quality human. He really is. He's a wonderful guy, an absolute artist behind the stumps. And I love the role that he plays at the top of the order, and he's done that plenty of times. And even though that he's at the twilight of his career, he still manages to have that impact. And even though you look at it and think, oh, I only struck at 127, but my gosh, that 127 is like 177.
Yeah.
On any other day, on any other surface.
Yeah, that's a good innings, whether they win or lose.
Yes, yes. Because it was always going to be a low-scoring game, and to get 47, which is a pretty sizable score, of 37 balls. The thing to like about Saha at this age, very fit, so his fitness doesn't come in the way of his performances. The other thing, which is the most important quality you need in T20 cricket, especially for a batter, is being selfless, not worrying about your individual scores. Now at 47, he was again trying to hit the ball in the air, so he's just thinking to maximize, every opportunity. He could also maybe, thinking, I've got some days left, let me also put on a score, and he would have had the license to do that today. But that is what you get with Saha. He goes out there and makes the best of the opportunities, the balls that are bowled to him. He's trying to maximize returns on that. And that is a priceless, player to have in your side.
All right. Like Tom Moody rightly says, there's a lot to like about Ridhiman Saha. He calls him a high-quality human. Since you're a good judge of that, where would you sort of rate Sanjay and myself?
Slightly irrelevant. You may not answer it.
Yeah, I just sort of don't know where we're going with that. But we've put it this way: we've known each other for many, many years, and we can still smile at each other.
Excellent. So very low on the list because Saha was an immediate high-quality human.
I'm not listening. I'm focused on what the next cricketing question is going to be.
Very well. Let's go there then, shall we? Naveen ul Haq, quickly, 1 for 19 in the absence of Mark Wood. Those are some pretty solid reserves if you can get Naveen ul Haq to bowl on these surfaces, Tom.
Well, if he's going to ever, sort of wish for a surface, this is it, because he's such a canny bowler for 2 reasons. One, he creates an incredible angle into the right-hander. Bowls wide of the crease. He nearly bowls over his left ear with that angle. He's got great change of pace. He's got, those subtle changes that are on a niggly wicket become a batsman's nightmare. So he knows his craft and he does it very, very well. All
right. Now, very quickly as the second innings comes our way, one thing I couldn't figure was whether this is, at the end of it all, a good score or not. At 135 with 2 very good innings, would Titans be looking at the rest of the batting and saying we could have got 150 if we had a little more? Or can we look at that period between overs, I think 9 and 17, where they've gone 37 of 8 overs? What kind of score is this and who's in front?
Empty with the bowling options of spin. Now there's obviously Rashid Khan there.
Rashid Khan and Noor Ahmed
might bowl
Noor
a couple of overs on this kind of pitch.
Yeah.
Noor Ahmed is already in the side.
Yes. Mohit Sharma, Mohammad Shami. Mohit Sharma, of course, has his own variations. Hardik Pandya, if he's bowling fit, there's another question. Tewatia. And
Yeah,
they
the
will-
last game actually in 19 overs that Titans bowled, they had 13 overs of seam. But they can completely change their approach,
They
which
have
might
two
happen
spinners
today.
on the bench. They have Sai Kishore and Jayant Yadav.
Hmm.
So one of those can be brought on as the impact.
Yeah, if
sub.
they don't want to bowl
bring
Tewatia,
the
if
left
it
armer on, won't they?
yeah, I think
Yeah,
Sai
Sai
Kishore, and
Kishore.
he played in the playoffs last
Yes.
season. And
Experienced.
yeah, I
He
think that
also can bowl it on a penny, can't he?
he's a tall guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And curiously, Lucknow have gone for Prerak Mankad as the substitute, the Himachal Pradesh all-rounder, for presumably his ability to bat against this kind of bowling ahead of
And that is something that is happening increasingly, where the obvious impact sub, who's going to be used as a batter, comes into field for a few overs just to get the feel of it. I just don't want to see him run a non-striker out at his end, considering the second name that he has.
Very well. As we know, we call it something else these days. Notwithstanding that nugget of objectivity, let's move on and ask for a prediction. Are we expecting this to be a straightforward chase? 136 on paper says it should be.
I think it's slightly below par score, but it wouldn't surprise me if Gujarat defend it, purely because on these types of surfaces, runs on the board, even though they can be very limited runs, are quite valuable.
Would you say it's about 10 below par, to be fair?
Yeah, probably around 12, I would have
All
thought.
right, yeah. KL Rahul is the key, is it fair to say? It's a bit of a cliche, but if you look at that batting with Stoinis and Puran and...
Yeah, he got 30 in that similar kind of game, 120. And Krunal Pandya also contributed. So these guys who can, nurdle the ball around, as they say. Noodles is because I'm getting a little hungry. So the wrong word came out. But it's not a pitch for the Kyle Mayers or the Stoinises of the world. You can take your time if you want to.
Just to confirm that Jayant Yadav has been given the nod ahead of Sai Kishore. So they are clearly going in with the off spinner. Looking at Mayers in that team, Krunal Pandya, Nicholas Puran, that's three lefties.
For the three left-handers. Then
that
Jayant
makes-
Yadav has...
That makes sense.
And he's also used to suddenly being called up in a
Yeah.
crunch game. I mean, this is not a crunch game, but it will happen. So he's an experienced international.
Yeah,
so
he's
should
a
manage.
Fine bowler.
Yeah.
All right, prediction. Gujarat to defend, Lucknow to chase.
I feel because they know the target, they know the pitch, they just have the advantage that teams have when they're chasing. So I'm going with Lucknow.
Tom,
You
you got a funny feeling about this,
Yeah,
don't you?
I'm actually going to hold firm on Titans here.
Right, so we have a nice split verdict, and remember, we still haven't got our super over yet, so we hope it'll come sometime soon. Big thank you to Sanjay Manjrekar and Tom Moody. Give them a couple of minutes where they can get themselves some noodles, and we should be back
it would end
on
like that.
ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout. Not just ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout, but visit Saudi Presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout.
I'm just wondering whether Tim Saudi is suddenly feeling very lonely because he's asking people to visit Saudi. Is he
Don't do that,
unwell?
Tom. You don't need to laugh.
No,
Don't laugh
it's
under
all right.
pressure.
It's-
Peer
I
pressure.
love dad jokes.
Dead jokes.
And the day I start getting pity laughs and not easy laughs is the time I'll quit with those. With Sean Tate, you get easy laughs. I think that was in the direction of pity laughs.
Yeah. Until that day, we will see you at the end of the game. Join us then on Visit Saudi Presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout to see where we stand, and we'll also build up to Mumbai, Punjab.